Hello. Today we're going to be adding polynomial expressions, and then we're also going to be subtracting, but we're going to start with adding. So if we look at algebra tiles, and we know that algebra tiles can help us with manipulating and looking at different variables and such. Most of the time when you see them like this, this is standing for a positive x squared, and this is standing for a negative x. Okay? In fact, I'm going to change that color so that you can see it a little better. So it's going to be a negative x. Anytime that you see a little square like this one is standing for a negative 1. So this would be a positive x squared. This would be a positive x, a positive x, a positive x, and a negative 1. Okay? So in this case, I have two x squares, and I have a negative x. In this one, I have an x squared plus 1, 2, 3 x's, and we have a negative 1. And you'll see that they go with these up here. So I have a 2x squared minus x, and then I have an x squared plus 3x minus 1. And now we're going to use this to model how we would add. And really what we're doing is that we're just putting the like terms together. So in this case, I have 1, 2, 3 x squares, and then I have a negative x, and I have a 3 positive x's. So I have minus x plus 1, 2, 3 x's minus 1. And now taking a look at these two, that means that I can cancel out. And what this means is this one and this one create 0 pairs. And so those 0 pairs cancel out. And so then I end up with 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the next part. Says like terms are defined as having the same variable with the same degree or exponent. When adding or subtracting polynomials, you add and subtract the coefficients. Remember, those are the numbers in front of the variables. When we're adding polynomials, we remove the parentheses and rewrite each term. Combine the like terms, and then the final answer should be in simplest form. And when it's in polynomials, we really want them in standard form. And so remember, in standard form, they go in decreasing degree. So there's two ways you can do this. There's a horizontal and a vertical method. If we look at the vertical, it's just exactly what it means. We just stack them one on top of the other. So we have 5x squared plus 2x minus 1 and 4x squared minus x plus 2. And we're going to add these two. So what I've done is I removed the parentheses and I've stacked them one on top of the other. And you'll notice that they're stacked so we have like terms. So I have 5x squared plus 4x squared, that's 9x squared. 2 minus 1 is 1, so we have 1x. And then negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. And so there it is added. And then we look, make sure it's in standard form. I have 2, 1, and 0, so it is in standard form. When we do them horizontally, we do it just like we did with those algebra tiles. We remove the parentheses, and then we put our likes together. So I have 5x squared minus 4x squared, and you see that they've been rewritten here. And then I have 2x minus x, and they have been rewritten here. And then I have the 1 and the negative 2 rewritten here. So they just combined them and rewrote them. You do not have to rewrite them. They've just done this so that you can see what they've done. So then we have 5x squared minus 4x squared, and we get x squared. And then we have 2 minus x, and we get 1x, and then we got 1 minus 2, we get negative 1. Okay. The reason why this is a different answer, even though a lot of the numbers are the same, is because if you look here in the original, this one is a negative 4x squared, and this is a positive 4x squared. And that does make a difference, okay? So be very careful. Just because they look similar does not mean they're exactly the same. So we're going to add using the vertical format. I would like to do, let's do number 4. So we have negative z to the third power minus 2z minus 1. And then we've got plus 2z to the third power minus z squared minus 2z. Now, this is an example of what I was talking about before, about how we need to stack them to where we have likes. And you'll notice that these are z cubed, this is a z, and this is z squared. And so I need to make an adjustment. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my adjustment right here. I'm going to add a z squared by making a 0z squared. And then we'll take our minus 2z and then minus our 1. And then because I have nothing here, I'm going to add my 0 here. And we're going to add all of these. So I've made adjustments so that you can see that they're stacked likes together. So I have a negative 1 plus 2 is 1, so I have z to the third power. 0 minus 1 is negative 1z to the second power. Negative 2z plus negative 2z is negative 4z. And negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. If I check to make sure it's in standard form, I have 3, 2, 1, 0. It is in standard form. And so that is my answer, my simplified answer. So be very careful if you come across these where they don't have, you can always add in like I did here. So this was I added and this I added so that I could stack them vertically. Okay. We can use the horizontal to do something very similar. And so I'm just going to rewrite, we'll do number 7. We're going to rewrite it. And I'm just going to take all the parentheses away. Okay. Now I look for my like terms, and I have x cubed and an x cubed. And that looks like that's the only thing I can combine. So I've got a negative 1 plus a negative 4 is negative 5x cubed. Because this has 0 and these have 1s, I'm going to go ahead and move these two down. And I'm going to put the x first just because I like them in alphabetical order. It's the only reason, because they both have the degree of 1. And now I'm bringing down my constant. And there it is in standard form. We can also subtract polynomial expressions and do it very similar. So when I have these, we're displaying 2x to the second power plus 4 minus 4x to the x squared, sorry. So this is 2x squares, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 2x squared plus 4. And then I have an x squared, an x squared, an x squared, and x squared. So I have 4 of these. So this is my 4x squared. We can use this and change these to the opposite. So instead of being positive, we now have negative 4x squared. Okay, so I have an x squared, x squared, x squared, x squared, but these are all negatives. So I have negative 4x squared. Now, remember those 0 powers that we were talking about earlier? So we can take 1x squared and 1 negative x squared. We cancel those out. A 1x squared and a negative 1x squared, cancel that out. And so then we get 4 plus a negative 2x squared. So we get, if you write it in standard form, the negative 2x squared would come first, plus the 4. All right, so subtraction is the same thing as distributing a negative 1. Remember when we changed all of the positives to negatives? we found their opposites. So whenever you see a negative sign in front of a parentheses, you can always say it's the opposite of. So that means that you're going to change each term inside the parentheses to its opposite sign. And then after that, we combine our like terms. Again, we can do a vertical or horizontal. Vertical, just drop the, well, the first thing I would do would be to change everything to its opposite. So the opposite of -2 is a +2. The opposite of -3 is +3. And the opposite of +4 is a -4, which you can see down below. And because I changed everything, this now becomes plus. Now I can drop those. I have a 2x squared, but I don't have an x squared in this one. So that's why they have this 0x squared plus 5x plus 2. And then we have our 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. And now it went from a subtraction to an addition problem. So 0 plus 2 is 2x squared. 5 plus 3 is 8x. And then +2 minus 4, that's a -2. When you have them like this, change everything to its opposite. So +2 becomes -2q squared. A positive q becomes -q, and a -4 becomes +4. Drop your exponents and, your parentheses, and then combine your like terms. So I have a 2q and a -2q. Well, that takes those away. They cancel out. I have a -q and a -q. So I have 2 negative q's. There's my 2 negative q's. And then I have a -4 plus a +4, and that is -4. So I have -2q plus 4, or minus 4. Let's do a vertical one. Let's go ahead and do the second one, number 4. Because we're subtracting, we're going to change everything to the opposite. And then we're going to stack them. That's to the third power minus 2z minus 1. And then I got plus z to the third power minus 2z minus 1. Add those together. -1 plus +1 cancels out. I have 2 -2's, so it'll be -4z, and -1 plus -1 is -2, and there it is, our simplified version. This time we're going to do it vertically, or horizontally, sorry. So the first thing I'm going to do is change everything to its opposite in my second set. And then I'm going to combine like terms. I have a -x cubed plus a +x cubed. Those are going to cancel each other out. Then I have a y squared. I don't have another y squared. Then I have a y, a minus y. Well, a positive y and a negative y, that cancels each other out. And then I have a -1x and a -1x, so it's -2x. So there is our simplified version. Okay, if you have any questions with these, they can get a little tricky. Please make sure that you're checking in with your teacher. Thank you.